Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are tackling, well, it's a really ambitious concept, maybe one of the biggest we've looked at. We're exploring this idea of convergence between the ultimate figures awaited in several major faiths.
That's right. We're talking about the Jewish Messiah, the Second Coming in Christianity, and the Kalki avatar from Hinduism.
And the core argument from our source material is pretty staggering, isn't it? That these figures people are waiting for, billions of people, they're essentially one and the same, a single divine entity.
Exactly. And its arrival isn't about, fire and brimstone, the end of everything. It signals a huge global transformation.
A transformation, okay.
So our mission today is really to get into this claim that at their core, Yahweh is Vishnu.
Wow, okay. Straight away, that brings up a paradox, right? You hear it all the time.
Which one?
Believers praying, often daily, for God's kingdom to come, for God to rule the earth.
Sure, thy kingdom come.
Right. But then, often in the same breath, there's this deep belief that the earth itself is doomed, going to be destroyed. Makes a kingdom kind of tricky.
It's a fundamental contradiction, isn't it? And that's really the starting point for this whole analysis in our source material.
Oh, so?
Well, think about it. If the goal is a divine ruler, a king, actually ruling, you need a kingdom. You need an earth to rule.
Like that prayer you mentioned, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. It assumes an earth.
Precisely. The prayer itself confirms the need for a functioning, thriving earth under, divine law. It forces us to reevaluate what end times actually means.
Okay, so if it's not destruction, let's unpack that. What are the end times according to this perspective?
It's a transition, a really major one. The sources define it as the end of the current age, the Kali Yuga.
The age of darkness, right? Associated with conflict, materialism.
Spiritual confusion, yeah.
Oh.
All of that. And it's the start of the next age, the Satya Yuga, the age of truth.
So like flipping a switch, or more gradual.
The sources describe it as a planetary shift, a kind of cosmic graduation almost. Not instant, perhaps, but decisive.
And this shift, this Satya Yuga, it's not just a feeling, right? What does it actually look like on the ground?
It's described as a complete renewal. The whole point of this divine intervention is to set up a global system based on righteousness, on truth.
Global governance.
Yes, leading to peace, prosperity, universal harmony, basically. The source material talks about Dharma, universal law, being upheld naturally, effortlessly by everyone.
So the earth isn't destroyed, it's refined, restored.
Reborn. Think rebirth, not a funeral. It's being brought back to its, let's say, intended state.
Okay, that makes sense. But if God is ruling directly on earth, what about religion? All the different churches, temples, synagogues, all the structures we have now.
Yes, this is where it gets quite radical in the source material.
Go on.
The idea presented is that organized religion, with its specific doctrines, its rituals, its divisions, it served a purpose.
A purpose? Like what?
Like a bridge. Or maybe like spiritual crutches, necessary supports for humanity during the Kali Yuga, this darker age, to maintain some connection to the divine.
So if the divine ruler arrives, the bridge isn't needed anymore.
That's the argument. Humanity kind of graduates beyond the need for these specific fragmented structures. The crutches are put away.
Graduates from dogma.
Yes. The source suggests these religions don't just disappear in conflict, but they kind of integrate, transcend their own limitations. They merge into a universal understanding.
And this universal understanding has a name.
It's called Sanatana Dharma.
Sanatana Dharma. That usually translates to eternal religion, or is used for Hinduism itself, right? How is it different here?
Good point. The source differentiates it. It's described less as a religion in the way we usually think of it, and more like a divine science.
Divine science? What does that mean?
Well, religion in this context relies on belief, interpretation, specific rituals. This divine science is presented as dealing with absolute truth, the actual mechanics of existence, of consciousness, of reality itself.
So like the underlying operating system of the universe.
Kind of, yeah. And the idea is, once this is revealed universally by the divine ruler, the need for competing belief systems just dissolves. It's like moving from basic arithmetic to understanding calculus. The foundations are still true, but you're operating at a higher level.
Okay, this is where I think many people listening will understandably hit a major hurdle. Connecting Yahweh, the intensely monotheistic god of Judaism, with Vishnu, who comes from Hinduism, a tradition that seems, at least on the surface, polytheistic, with avatars and many deities. How on earth does the source bridge that gap? It seems massive.
It is a huge conceptual leap from our usual ways of thinking. But the bridge, according to the source, is built entirely on the definition, on the fundamental nature of the divine being described. Remember the core claim,
Yeah.
Messiah, Second Coming, Kalki. All are supposedly the same eternal being showing up in human form.
Right. So let's start with Yahweh. Why HWH? Often translated as I am that I am.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is a definition, isn't it? It describes pure being, self-existent, timeless, the fundamental reality, that is. And because it is, it sustains everything else, the ultimate sustainer.
Okay, I follow that. Now, Vishnu. You mentioned the name comes from the Sanskrit root vish.
Yes, Vish. It means to enter into, to spread through, to pervade.
Pervade, like spread throughout everything.
Precisely. Vishnu represents the omnipresent eternal reality that pervades and upholds all existence, the all-pervading sustainer.
Hang on, so Yahweh is the self-existent sustainer, and Vishnu is the all-pervading sustainer.
That's the connection the source draws. Whether you're speaking ancient Hebrew or Sanskrit, both names point to the exact same cosmic reality, the preserver, the sustainer, the eternal one.
So the difference is cultural language, different ways of describing the same fundamental thing.
That's the argument. The cultural expressions, the stories, the rituals might look very different, but the underlying definition of the supreme being is remarkably consistent.
Okay, that does reframe things quite a bit. If Yahweh is Vishnu in this sense, then God appearing on earth isn't just a one-off Christian idea or a Jewish hope.
Or just a Hindu cycle of avatars.
Right. It becomes the standard operating procedure for the preserver.
It confirms what the source calls the eternal pattern. Vishnu's explicit role is preserving cosmic order dharma. And to do that, the divine has to step in when things go off the rails.
That quote from the Bhagavad Gita you mentioned earlier?
Gita 4.7, yes. Whenever righteousness declines and unrighteousness rises, I manifest myself upon earth. It's a direct statement of purpose. The preserver shows up when creation is threatened, not just to fix it, but to guide it back to truth.
Okay, this pattern needs examples to really land. The source provides some, historical blueprints for how this works, leading up to Kalki.
Yes, it focuses on two key historical descents, or avatars, to illustrate the pattern. First, Lord Rama, appeared roughly 7,000 years ago.
Rama, what was his specific role in setting this pattern?
Rama's mission was all about establishing perfect righteous rule, dharma in action. He came to defeat tyranny symbolized by the demon king Ravana, but more importantly, he established an ideal kingdom.
Ramaraja.
Ramaraja, exactly. It became the benchmark for just, compassionate, truthful governance. He basically showed what the kingdom on earth is supposed to look like in practice. Politics and society aligned with divine law.
So Rama demonstrates restoring external order, the societal structure. What about Lord Krishna? He came later, about 5,000 years ago.
Krishna's role was a bit different. Still preservation, but more focused on the, let's say, intellectual and spiritual side. He appeared during the massive upheaval of the Mahabharata War.
Right, a time of immense confusion and conflict.
Exactly. And his primary act of preservation wasn't setting up a long-lasting kingdom himself, but delivering the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, eternal wisdom.
So the preserver uses different tools, sometimes direct action against evil, like Rama.
And sometimes delivering timeless knowledge to guide humanity, like Krishna. Both are methods of reestablishing order and truth.
That's actually a very compelling blueprint. Same core being, the preserver, showing up across millennia in different places, different forms.
Using the specific tools needed for that particular crisis. It's like a divine intervention strategy that repeats.
And that leads us straight to Kalki, then.
Directly. The Kalki prophecy fits the pattern perfectly. The 10th and final avatar, destined to arrive at the end of this Kali Yuga.
With the same job description.
Exactly the same mandate.
Yeah.
Destroy ignorance, defeat the forces of darkness, often symbolized as a final great tyrant, and restore truth, justice, divine law, dharma, across the earth.
So the prophecies in Judaism, Christianity, and Hinduism about a final divine ruler bringing peace and justice.
The source argues they aren't describing three different events. They're describing one final, unified appearance of this same eternal being, the culmination of the pattern.
This is fascinating, but it brings up a huge practical question for anyone listening right now. Discernment.
Ah, yes, the big one.
If this is true, if this being, whether you call him Messiah or Kalki, has come or is coming, how does anyone know? How do you tell the real thing from everything else, especially with so much confusion and so many claims out there?
This is where the source material gets very direct and issues a pretty strong warning.
About what?
about deception. It suggests the primary tactic of, let's call it negative forces or the devil, isn't just to deny truth, but to distort it.
Twist it.
Yes, to dress up falsehood in the clothes of faith, make it look pious, look righteous. And it often suggests this corruption starts within religious institutions themselves, through leaders susceptible to pride, power.
That's a tough message. But history does show examples of people claiming divine authority and using it to, well, coerce people rather than liberate them.
Precisely. And that becomes the key test. Discernment isn't just intellectual, it's a spiritual duty. The source emphasizes that true worship, true connection with the divine, must be based on free will.
Free choice.
Absolutely. Stemming from love, from genuine understanding, from choice. Any system that tries to force belief, that subjugates people, that blinds them with fear or dogma, that's flagged as the opposite.
Does the source mention specific historical examples of this coercion?
It does. It impartially reports on systems that expanded through forced conversion, or offering that grim choice. Convert, pay a special tax for being different, or face death.
How does the source frame that kind of approach?
It frames it very clearly as the method of tyranny, the devil's way, designed specifically to crush free will, which it calls the ultimate gift from God. God's way, in contrast, is always liberty. Persuasion through truth, through love, through knowledge.
And it also says something about separating the person from the problem, right?
Yes, critically important. You have to distinguish the deluded individual from the delusion itself. Address the system, the harmful ideology, with clear truth, but approach the individual caught within it with compassion, trying to awaken them, not condemn them.
Okay, so for the listener trying to navigate all this, is there a simple test, a practical way to judge? What's the fruit you look for, as the saying goes?
The source offers a pretty clear litmus test. Look for clarity and liberty.
Clarity and liberty, explain that.
God, or the divine principle, is described as pure goodness, perfect clarity, benevolence, light. Think day. Any system, any teaching, any leader that promotes confusion, ambiguity, fear, intellectual blindness, or uses coercion, threats, that's defined as darkness. Think night.
So if a movement or teaching brings genuine peace, justice, verifiable truth, and it doesn't need force because it appeals to reason and free will, that's the sign.
That's the sign of the Satya Yuga dawning, according to this material. The fruit is tangible. Joy, wisdom, unconditional love, freedom. It insists the faithful can't just passively pray. They need to actively see and demand these qualities.
That's a very active role for the individual, spiritual vigilance. So let's try to bring this all together. If we accept this premise, even just for discussion, Yahweh is Vishnu, the preserver, what does it mean for us right now? What happens when those walls between faiths start to seem less solid?
It potentially means the end of humanity's spiritual identity crisis. If the source is right, then the God people pray to in synagogues, churches, temples, the God of Abraham, Moses, Krishna, Jesus, it's all the same ultimate reality.
One eternal being.
One eternal being.
Yeah.
The core essence is identical, the message fundamentally universal, just expressed through different cultural languages.
And the implication is the waiting is kind of over. That this transformation, the Satya Yuga, isn't just a future event, but it's already starting.
The source strongly suggests the dawn has already begun. The transformation is underway now.
Which makes the call to action very immediate.
Extremely. The message boils down to discern, awaken, participate, get involved in this dawning age of truth. The time for just passively waiting is gone.
And that leaves us with one final, really provocative thought from the source material, doesn't it? It ties back directly to that challenge of discernment and the importance of free will.
Yes. It poses a crucial question for all of us.
It says the ultimate question facing humanity now isn't whether God will come to rule the earth,
but whether humanity, caught up in all the noise, the dogma, the confusion, the pride of its separate traditions, whether we'll have the clarity, the humility, the vision to actually recognize him when he does.
Wow. That's a lot to think about. A powerful place to end this deep dive.